What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre game and the fact that it's going to be 3 versus 4. Now, this is, sometimes I'll do like news-specific things where it's like time-sensitive. I don't know when this video is going to go up, so I don't necessarily want to talk about the news that it was officially confirmed by them that, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to have the family of 3 versus a 4 group of survivors, right? So they confirmed that a few days ago, a few weeks ago, depending on when you guys are seeing this video. But I want to talk about if it could work or that it's not even guaranteed to work, because the biggest thing that I came out of that was not even the news that, oh, okay, this is what it's going to be like, but more like genuine curiosity of, I will say this, I give them full credit for doing something new. They even said that in their blog post that they don't want to make the same game twice. It's like, you know what? I would applaud that. In fact, let me do it right now. I will applaud that. I think that's a noble thing. I don't really think there's many developers that do make the same game literally twice, but I think what they literally meant was, we're not here to make Friday the 13th again, but just swap, 1 for 1 and just put Leatherface in. Like, that's not what we're doing. And again, you know what? That's fine. I actually would say this, though, too. I would have been okay if it was Friday the 13th, which with obvious improvements. Like, I don't want literally that same game with just a skin change, right? I want things to be, different. But if the same basic premise, or if it was the same basic premise, I should say, as Friday the 13th, I really wouldn't have minded it, to be completely honest. But the fact that it's 3 versus 4 is something different, something new, and, again, applause to them. Now, does that mean it's going to work? No, again, that's the genuine, just like, and I was talking to my friend about this. It's like, it's so fascinating to me that, like, they're doing this, and, like, how do you make this work? So this is the question I'm trying to pose to you guys. I'd love to hear. I'm sure you guys have some good, ideas. You could leave it in the comments for me to read, and we can talk there. But, like, all right, so if it's 3 versus 4, the balance is so, balancing any of these games, Dead by Daylight, Friday the 13th, Predator, anything, literally any of these games, is the most important thing. Like, 100, you know what I mean? It's just 100% the most important thing. If you have survivors that are too powerful, or just the balance is off, people are only going to want to play as one or the other, that's going to get stale, and literally the entire game is going to break down, or the experience just won't be good because, it's just not built in the way that everybody has a fair shot, or whatever. Like, if the goal is for one to be more powerful, that's fine, as long as the game kind of supports that. So it's hard to not think of Dead by Daylight, even though I highly doubt that, this Texas Chainsaw game is going to be literally a Dead by Daylight skin. It probably won't be, but it is, like, come on, like, it's fair to, I think of Dead by Daylight in the way of that's 1 versus 4, and this is now 3 versus 4. So I guess what I would imagine is you can't have the killers be too powerful, or you can't have the survivors be too weak. Now, considering you're dealing with iconic characters in terms of, Leatherface, and that's so iconic, and obviously the family's going to be involved too, right? But, like, I guess what I'm trying to build at is the first part of what I just said, right? Maybe you can't make them too powerful. Well, that's kind of, I think, what people want out of these games. So when you give us Predator hunting, not them, right? But when anybody gives you Predator, or gives you Dead by Daylight even, or Friday the 13th, right? I think there's genuine excitement to play as the killer. I just think, and games, I think, really struggle outside of just a handful of making you want to play as the other ones. I think Dead by Daylight probably does it the best, where the killers are so different, they are so unique. Yes, they're hit or miss, some of the newer ones, right? They're hit or miss, but you have genuine want to play as them, but also there's just such a good hook to playing as a survivor, fixing generators, evading the killers. All, like, it's just such a good loop that you're fine if you play as survivors. Again, you don't want it where you only want to play as the killer, or you only want to play as survivors, because then, again, I think personally the game would just fall apart. So for this Texas Chainsaw game, having 3 killers, to make them too powerful or to give the survivors no chance would break the game. It would fundamentally break the game. So you need it to be a level playing field. I just can't actually imagine. And again, it's actually kind of cool, because, like, I can't see it. And that doesn't mean, like, oh, they've made such a grave mistake because Alex thinks, you know what I mean? It's just I literally can't picture it right now, and I'm very excited to see it, like, in action, because it's like, how does it work having not 1, not 2, but 3 killers chasing you around a map. Like, what is that like, and what kind of abilities, because they have to, right? No, I guess not just abilities the killers have. What can the survivors do to get out of this situation? Like, what are they going to be able to take? Are you going to be able to die? Actually, that's one of my main, you know what I mean? So, like, some of them you can't, right? Like Dead by Daylight, you can't really do anything. You can slam things on them. That's it. That's the only thing you can do. But for, like, Friday the 13th, right, there is a way of killing Jason. Predator Hunting Ground, there's a way of killing the Predator. They're not easy. Well, Predator's a little bit easier, I would say, than Friday the 13th. But, you know, you're not even necessarily supposed to do it, but it's there for you. I guess if we're talking about specifically Friday the 13th, there definitely is a way of fighting back. There's plenty of ways of actually fighting back. And you're, you know, I don't know, again, if you're necessarily supposed to, but you absolutely can. So I would imagine, again, I don't know, like, it's less people, so you don't need it to be as big as Friday the 13th, right? So Friday the 13th, like, you have the whole camp site, you know what I mean? So there's a lot of movement, but I think it's 8 survivors versus 1 killer, so there's 9. This is 3 versus 4, so it's 7. So it's not that much smaller, but it's also way less survivors, like, specifically, you know what I mean? Specifically survivors. So I don't know, and, like, will the killers be able to help each other out? Like, is there kind of like duo moves or things, or like synergy between, you know, the characters? It's gonna be so fast. Like, I love talking about it, even though, like, I don't think I've really, you know, given anything into the game. I don't think I've helped the development team if they watch any videos people make on it. I don't think I've given any positive you know, feedback or what I would do. I'm just genuine. I'm just excited for the idea here. So I do hope they nail it. I do hope they pull it off. I will say, you know, in my normal, you know, I have a little bit of worrisome, just like a factor in me, you know, where I do always try to think of the concerns, or it's just something that comes in my mind where I do get concerned easily, and I've been criticized for it, and it's okay. But I do think of it. I don't think it's a slam dunk. I think it's a slam dunk in terms of creativity and being something different. But I also think, you know, again, if it's not nailed perfectly, and obviously that's why you test it, that's why you play it, and I think a game like that, the developers probably play it every day for, you know, numerous hours a day, so I'm sure they got that covered. But if it doesn't work perfectly, where the killers feel powerful, they feel like they're able to take out the survivors, and then on the flip side, the survivors, they feel like, you know, and I want to feel like that. Like, I want to feel terrified, because you're in a house, or you're in a little corn maze, or, you know, whatever. You're, like, in an area, and you're not, and again, like, you're stuck with 3 of them. Not 1, you're stuck with 3 of them, you know what I mean? And obviously you're survivors. So there's going to be a genuine, you know, fear and, like, tension there, but also you need to have, you know, a way of getting out of it. Otherwise, it's pointless. And just having more killers is going to make that harder. That's just because dealing with just Jason, or dealing with just the Predator, or dealing with just 1 killer in Dead by Daylight, like that, I wouldn't say it's easy, but it's only 1. You don't have to run around a corner and say, oh my God, there's the second one. You know what I mean? So, like, that's going to be something that's I'm going to be very interested to see how they pull it off. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Make sure, as always, you guys are subscribed to the channel. Hit the bell icon so you guys know when all these videos go up. I will certainly be covering this game many, many more times as we lead into it, so it will definitely be something you'll see on the channel. Thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you all on the next video.